Hello, YouTube community. It's Robert S., and welcome back to RobSCure Music. In today's video, I want to share with you something that I recently picked up after winning a contest that was organized by my good friend here on YouTube, Sam St. John. And Sam had a contest that he called Pick 5. And the idea behind that was to show 5 albums that people might be surprised that you have in your collection. And that was back in May that I entered into the contest. And I think I showed Sammy Davis Jr., Captain and Tennille, Star Wars, I think a Sesame Street album, and something else, some other 5th album. But nevertheless, last month he randomly picked the winner, and it was me. And after my initial shock wore off, I realized that I now just had in my hands a $30 Amazon gift card. So thank you, Sam, for that. But what I didn't know was what I was going to do with it. So I waited a little while. I thought about, well, what is it that I really want? And I'm a huge Elton John fan. And another YouTuber, my friend Joe Mayo, who many of you know probably from his Mean Mr. Mayo channel, told me about an Elton John book. And as soon as I heard about it, I said, I have got to own this. So I went on to Amazon, and sure enough, they had it on sale. And I was able to use my gift card from Sam's contest to buy Elton John, All the Songs, the story behind every track. And yes, this is a thick book. It's about 600 pages. I'm about almost 200 pages into it. So I've got a long way to go, but we've got some various stories about Elton and Bernie, obviously, how they met in the band members and how they came to join the group. It's got information, a little bit of information about the albums, and then the songs. For example, Lady What's Tomorrow and Cells, which are on his first studio album, Empty Sky, that was released in 1969. And this, by the way, goes through the Lockdown Sessions album that was released in 2021. So you're talking about 52 years of songs in this book. And it's very interesting. In each case for the songs, they list the musicians, obviously who the authors were of the song, where it was recorded, producers, and so on, all that type of information. It gives you the time of the songs. For example, Sales is 3 minutes and 45 seconds, written by Elton John and Bernie Taupin. And it gives you a Genesis and lyrics section that talks about how the song came to be and a little bit about the lyrics and the production. So it dives into some of the more technical aspects of producing the song. How somebody got a particular guitar part on it, or how the piano got to be a certain way. A lot of really interesting information. As a matter of fact, there are some things in here that, and again, I'm a big Elton John fan, but there are some things in here that I had either known and long forgotten or just simply didn't know. For example, in his first live album, 11-17-70, that album was really only made as a response to the bootlegs that were circulating after Elton's first really successful U.S. Concert in California in I think it was August and September 1970. So like I said, with the bootlegs circulating, the record company said, let's get a live album out there. They called them into the studio to do a live album, basically, and it's a fantastic album. Another thing was the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album. And this is something I don't think I actually knew. One of the names that they considered for that album was Silent Movies, Talking Pictures. And I gotta say, they did the right thing when they went with Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Absolutely fantastic album, absolutely fantastic song, absolutely fantastic name for the album. And of course, last year Elton had his farewell Yellow Brick Road tour, and I did see him last year, so I was very happy about that. And another interesting story that I got out of this is about the Honky Chateau album. That particular album wasn't just recorded at the Chateau in France, it was actually written there as well. And in fact, I think it was the first full day that they were at the Chateau that Elton and Bernie finished off 3 songs. Again, in one day. Those 3 songs were Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters, fantastic song. Amy, another good song, really good song. And Rocket Man. Talk about a successful day. In one day, they wrote those 3 songs. Incredible. And then there's the story about Tiny Dancer. Now, everybody's familiar with Tiny Dancer at this point. Absolutely fantastic song that leads off his Madman Across the Water album. And the interesting thing there is, and it's funny to think about it now, but when they released Tiny Dancer as a single, the song itself is just over 6 minutes. And back in the 70s, it was unheard of to have long songs like that, released as a single. It just didn't get the playtime on the radio. So to be able to play those type of songs, many times artists would do a radio edit. They would cut the song down to the more acceptable, 3.5 minutes, 3 to 3.5 minute version. But they released the song at 6 minutes, and it actually didn't chart very well at all, either in the US or in the UK. And in 1973, they did release a shorter radio version, which helped a little bit. But again, given some of the other songs he had, Your Song, for example, Rocket Man, to hear that Tiny Dancer didn't particularly do well, it's like, what? What are you talking about? Well, the truth is, Tiny Dancer really didn't get the recognition it deserved until it got inserted into a movie by Cameron Crowe. And it's in a very pivotal and iconic scene in the movie Almost Famous. And if you've seen the movie and you remember the bus scene, it was absolutely perfect for that. And it was that movie that really made Tiny Dancer take off as the song that we know it today, as such a fantastic staple of Elton John's discography. And in the song Levon from the album Madman Across the Water, there's a part in that song where the drummer, Barry Morgan, who was playing on that particular tune, he actually made a mistake, and he inserted a drum roll at around the minute, I want to say around minute and 30 seconds into the song. It's the second time, and if you're familiar with the song, you'll know this line. But there's a line where he says he was born a pauper to a pawn on a Christmas day. And it's the second time he says it in the song. And the first time there was no drum roll, but the second time there is a drum roll in it. And after they completed recording it, Barry went to them and said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And they said, are you kidding? That was perfect. It created such a sort of emotional crescendo, and you don't really notice it. But when I heard the story and I listened to it, I was like, you know what? That was perfect. I think that was just the hand of God basically said, you got to put this drum roll in this particular section. And little things like that, you can glean from this book. And it's just, it makes me appreciate the songs that much more. So anyway, this little thank you video to show this book is getting a little bit too long. So again, thank you to Sam St. John. Check out Sam's channel. He is knocking on the door of 900 subscribers. So it'd be great if we could push him over 900 and get him on his way to 1,000 subscribers. So that's it, friends. Stay well. And remember, if the music strikes a chord, let it play.